Good morning and welcome to BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information. In this episode of our insurance series, I'm joined by Ryan Gaffka from BGI UK. Here we are today to talk about marine cargo insurance. Firstly, Ryan, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me, Natalie.
Would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Ryan Gaffka. I work for BGI. I've been an insurance broker now for 7 years, specialising in freight and cargo in the most recent part of that time. And we work a lot with freight forwarders.
Yeah. So can we start off by talking about what a marine open cargo policy actually is?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's an agreement between an insurance company and a freight forwarder to offer insurance on their customers' freight movements. So a big part of, as we know with BIFA, is the incorporation of conditions, and that is telling your customers about the limited liability that you have.
Right.
So it can be quite nice to be able to lead on to your customers and say, if you don't have cargo insurance, we can provide that for you, and that is what the system does.
Sure. So how does a forwarder arrange the insurance cover?
So the best thing to do is speak to your broker. What your broker will do is ask you questions about the type of cargo you tend to be involved with. They can then go to insurers and seek a policy that meets your needs.
Okay.
It's usually a portal. So what you're able to do is jump on that portal, put in, this is the cargo I'm looking at, this is the value, this is where it's going from and to.
Sure.
And then that will normally spit out a quotation for you. It is meant for generic low value cargo. So things under 250,000 is quite a standard limit.
Okay.
But it enables you to offer that for your clients as well.
Sure. So how much does that actually typically cost our forwarders?
There are some portals which are free, though they are few and far between. It's more common because an insurer has to set up the teams and the claims that they will charge a deposit premium.
Okay.
So that could be between £500 and £1,000. What will happen though is as you raise certificates, it will draw down against that money so that you're covered. And then if you do go above and beyond it, as many forwarders with us do, you just top up every quarter or every month.
Okay. And can you explain some other benefits that are there for our forwarders as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So you become a one-stop shop, if you will, for freight and insurance. Your customers come to you, they know you're looking after them because you're not only saying, yes, we will move your goods, but we will make sure that they're covered in transit as well. What's quite useful for freight forwarders is you can also make revenue from it. So if, for example, you quoted £30,000 in chairs and tables, the system spits out a £75 quote, you can turn to your client and say, okay, that's £100, £25 is our administration for doing this work for you, and then your goods are insured as well.
And are there things that the forwarders need to be made aware of as well?
Yes, so there's two key ones. So in the first instance, you need to be handling the freight. You have to be involved in the movement. You can't just do it insurance independently. The second one is that you do need instruction from the client to proceed with the insurance. You couldn't just sort of throw it in.
Sure.
Then there are the normal checks that you should look to make. So can I actually insure these goods? As we mentioned earlier, it's normally for the small and the generic, so you should do those checks.
Sure.
Are there any sanctions issues? Sanctions issues on the goods or on the territories or on the people. But again, a lot of that will be picked up when you're doing the freight anyway, but it does, of course, also impact on the cargo policy side. And then finally, it is also really important that you have a firm working practice, because what you don't want to find is you get the order for the cargo insurance, you forget, and then something goes wrong. And we have had a handful of forwarders come to us and say, I'm really sorry, I took the order, I put it on the back burner, and then I completely forgot. Whilst we have managed to find solutions for them, the issue is if a claim has already happened, you won't find an insurance company that will then agree to cover the move.
Sure.
And it's very likely that your freight liability policy will have an exclusion for forgetting or failing to arrange insurances.
Sure. And do you have any other words of advice for our forwarders? Can cover be provided for higher value cargo, perhaps?
It can. So we mentioned that it tends to have a lower limit of 250,000 on it and tends to be certain goods only.
Okay.
Many brokers that specialise in this sector will have the ability to talk to insurers outside of the portal appetite.
Right.
What we would say is really important for the forwarder is that they provide the broker with as much information as they can.
Sure.
Because it can be a conversation completely away from the portal that they're given, that insurer that is approached needs to know full information. What is it? Where's it going? How's it packed? If you're unsure, of course, you can just raise that with your broker. But the best thing to do is have that open dialogue with them, have the conversation. The brokers will happily come out and see you. So if you want to arrange a visit to discuss these things and have training on the cover and the portal, just have a chat with your broker.
Sure. And that's sound advice for us to finish on. Thank you very much, Ryan.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. If you have any questions about this policy or insurance in general, you can contact Ryan directly. We'll pop his details in the video's description. That's all for today's episode of BIFA Link TV, your daily dose of industry information.